I woo everyone and welcome into the fourth edition of Behind the Streams, where tonight we will be interviewing none other than Mr. WhoIsDoopu of the WhoIsDoopu fame. Welcome in everybody to Mr. Dupu.
Yeah, hello, it's me. I made it. I remember that the microphone was on. That was good.
All right, so first things first, as always, I ask everyone username. WhoIsDoopu? Where did the username come from, and why is it WhoIsDoopu?
So it's a two-parter. First of all, it's the name I was born with. I was obviously named that by my parents. But if you ask me why they picked it, it's probably because they were just saying random syllables until they found a pair of syllables that they liked. And then when they went to sign up to Twitch, on my behalf apparently, they realized that was taken, so they decided to add an air of mystery to it. So hence, WhoIsDoopu?
I
And
got you.
that was definitely not a mistake, because that's now how most people greet me, like in every chat ever. But WhoIsDoopu? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. If you figure it out, let me know.
I got you. It does kind of lead me to a follow-up question about the WhoIsDoopu. I've like I said, I've followed your channels and everything for quite a while. I do know that sometimes I have seen you around, but you're going under an alias of WhoIsDoopu. What's the alias about?
So I needed a bot account, so I made WhoIsDoopu. And that came about because the most common greeting from people who haven't met me yet is, people always ask WhoIsDoopu, but HowIsDoopu? And I went, you know what? That's good. So I made the bot account, so that could just be the default answer. It's that one. That's HowIsDoopu. I'm WhoIsDoopu. That's WhoIsDoopu. That's HowIsDoopu. I'm WhoIsDoopu. And it just became a convenient account to do non-regular streaming activities under. So I used to use it for streaming dailies, like practicing music or other stuff that I needed to do once a day. And it also came in handy for entering the ROM hack races for SMW. I'm trying to think why I did it. I think it was because I used to be like weirdly obsessed with viewer numbers, like in general. So whenever I was doing anything that might not have the best viewer numbers, I would do it under the HowIsDoopu account.
I got you.
Which nowadays I don't worry so much about. So yeah, the HowIsDoopu account exists because funny haha joke turned bot account turned useful scapegoat account for stuff that I don't want to do under the main account.
So next question about your streamer. We now know the name of where WhoIsDoopu came from. Kind of a take you going all the way back to the beginning. Kind of who or what made you decide to start streaming?
So there was a couple of motivating factors. One was I was watching a lot of Twitch. So my friend Cabs had recently gotten into Twitch. He goes by DN Cabs on Twitch. And he was asking me about how to get started, because I actually had a very, very old account back in the day. I tried out streaming. Wasn't really for me at the time, but I knew how it worked. I knew all like the tech and stuff. I knew how important it was to like have people supporting at the start. So I was hanging out with Cabs, and I was like, why aren't I doing this? This could be fun. And at the time, I was also watching Orca BLM, who is a Mario streamer who you can sometimes convince to stream once a year if you're lucky. And that got me into the Mario community. And eventually I was like, wouldn't it be nice to show people that Kaizo is one of these things that you can learn, that anyone can do it, even someone as naff as me as at platforming can like get good at Kaizo. So that was like the second motivation was, what if we had a channel that charted someone's road to being good at Kaizo. This turned out to be a deeply unoriginal idea, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good idea at the time. I still do, actually. I thought it was a lot of fun.
I do love the avatar, the yellow dog in the teacup. What was the inspiration behind the appearance?
So obviously I was born like this, so that's kind of what you look like. But with the whole look, there was a lot of folks out there who were cute, and I was like, I want to show off being cute. I think that's a good idea, actually. My remote controlled robot, Oliver Bot, who does all the human work, he's hideous to look at. He's an absolute monster. So we couldn't put him in front of the camera because people would get scared. So it was like, okay, well, I guess I'll do it instead. And the main reasoning was, you know what, it's not a bad look. People like small things. People like tea. What if we put them together? Wouldn't that be a good idea?
So
yeah.
that makes me wonder, and I've always wondered this, and I don't think I have ever actually asked it in your chat before. So is the teacup really big, or are you just really small?
I'm tiny.
Okay.
I'm tiny. I'm a little teacup pup.
Okay.
Like, you've blown me up on the screen to like look big, but obviously in reality I'm tiny. I look absolutely tiny. So it's a common question because there's no sense of scale on Twitch, right? It's very difficult to tell.
Right.
No, you have to put the webcam really, really close. Otherwise I look tiny.
Gotcha.
It's not a small teacup. It's not a tiny teacup, but it's small enough.
I guess you've already, this next question, I'm going to change a little bit because it's, I guess, now kind of a two-parter from what you've already said. Normally all I ask is how long have you been streaming, but you said you have an old stream account. So two-part question. Number one, how long have you been streaming from the very beginning? And then how long has WhoIsDoopu been streaming?
So that account, I don't actually know. I couldn't tell you. It was that long ago.
Oh, wow.
It was so long ago. And that account wasn't super active either. It was just something that was used to experiment with the idea of getting going. But that would have been probably, what year is it? That would have been over a decade ago, I think. But I wouldn't count that as streaming time, to be honest. That was like very much an experimental period.
Gotcha.
Over here on WhoIsDoopu, it's been it's the 4-year anniversary of affiliate coming up. Technically it passed at the end of March, but we didn't celebrate it yet because I wasn't ready. But it's been about 4 years of affiliate.
Okay. Did it take you very long to hit affiliate?
I don't know the exact timing. I think it was about 2 or 3 months. That might be completely massively underestimating it, but I think it was something like 2 or 3 months. But that came from having a strong support network from Cabs and Cabs' friends and all of those people in his kind of circle. I think time to affiliate is one of those metrics that people tend to panic about, but the fact of the matter is it comes pretty quickly. I hear it's even easier these days. I hear it's quite straightforward.
So talking about your streaming experience, and as long as you've done it now, this probably is a question that I don't feel like probably really applies, but I'm still going to ask it anyway. Do you, especially as long as you've streamed now, do you ever like, what's the best way I want to word this? Do you ever get anxiety before a stream? Like, do you get kind of anxious or nervous about worrying that something's not going to go right, or something of that nature? Is streaming always just like another day, no big deal, just hit go live and you just live your life?
99% of the time it's just another day. Like, you get used to it. I think because I do it 5 days a week for 6 hours a day. So for me, it's very ordinary. I know that when I started, it was quite nerve-wracking, but at the same time, it's not super nerve-wracking when you start because you know that there's not going to be anyone there except people you know.
Right.
Um, so there was never like a huge amount of anxiety to it. No, the anxiety comes from like when you do stuff that's new. Like let's say you're trying out a new format, or you're rolling out something that you haven't tried out before, or it's a big anniversary event. There's lots of things that can cause like butterflies, but on the day-to-day, no, I'm absolutely normalized to the horrors of streaming. I don't really panic when I go live anymore. No.
I gotcha. Quick break of the interview. Check it out. Skirm has just set a world record.
World record. My gosh.
Way
There
to
you go.
go,
If anything comes out
Skirm.
of this, one world record.
Exactly.
Very good.
That's congrats, Skirm. So I know that you and most of my interviews now are mainly geared and aimed toward people that do mainly play Kaizo or that are pretty big in the Kaizo community. So obviously we do know Kaizo. I did mention that you used to play Celeste. I may have been missing it, but I haven't seen you play Celeste in a long time. I've seen you play the Yakuza games. If you're not playing Kaizo, kind of what could somebody expect to see you play, these days?
So, the way that I've structured things is I know that the vast majority of people who watch the channel want to see Mario or Mario related things. So this year, every other month, you'll just see something Mario-y. Like, for instance, this month was casual Mario playthrough, so I spent the whole month playing through Mario games that I've never played before. I still play Kaizo, I still play other games casually, but my typical go-tos are stuff inside the sphere that I already exist in. That said, this next coming month, we're looking at rhythm games because I don't really do a lot of rhythm games on stream, and I thought, hey, it's a great opportunity to look at stuff outside of the regular Mario stuff. Let's try out rhythm games. So rhythm gaming is something I'm really interested in, but I don't do a lot of it on stream. Shmups, another genre I really enjoy that I don't do on stream. But when it comes to like the day-to-day stuff, I'm a Mario gamer. I play Mario stuff. I play platformers. I really like platformers because I can play them. I can't play a sports game. I can't play FPS games, but I can play a platformer. So that's the kind of stuff you can expect. Like Celeste is a great example. Like I love Celeste. I just happen to be quite bad at it.
You were not bad at it whenever I watched you anyway. I mean, maybe you had the struggles when I wasn't around, but you seem pretty good at it to me.
There's a bad habit that I think Kaizo people have that carries over to other games, and it's to say they're bad at something, and it's not true. Like 99% of the time, it's not true. Yeah, it's an automatic response to having to say anything sincerely once is to be like, no, I'm bad. Oh my goodness,
this is terrible. You don't want to watch this.
I failed one time at one thing once. I'm bad. Oh goodness.
So talking about the Kaizo, how did you get into Kaizo? Like where did that journey start?
I really wish I had like a good answer for this guy. I don't know. Like it's very likely that I caught like a GDQ clip at some point and went, oh okay, and then went onto Twitch and then clicked the first one I saw, who probably happened to be Orca BLN, and then gradually fell down the rabbit hole like that. But I don't actually really remember. I do know that I was introduced to like hacked like Kaizo stuff for like Mario hacks in general through videos like there was that video of that guy playing that Super Mario Brothers 1 hack where he's like, he goes, a blooper? Like in a really like thick accent, really thick American accent. And that one got stuck in my head for the longest time. So then I was naturally primed to understand that these Kaizo things existed. And then it must have been like 2014 or so that it became like it got on my radar, I guess. And then I sat on it for 8 years, I guess.
What would you say? And I don't necessarily mean like the Kaizo rated difficulty, because I don't I'm not going to really get into that because I've got my own opinions of their rating system. But to you, what would you say is probably the hardest hack that you've beaten?
I mean, there's recency bias in it, but I think it's Casio. I think Casio's fairly in terms of like on a per level basis, we're talking like a 6-hour clear per level, and then you get to like the levels the hack is known for, and then you're looking at like 15-hour clears. Those in terms of like pure time, those win out massively. In terms of like raw execution, there's hacks I haven't even beat. Like there's hacks I put time into, and I look at it and I think if I ever actually beat this, it will be a miracle. And that's stuff like any of Nyx's hacks. Nyx Kills Myths. He comes up with these absolutely incredibly precise hacks where you've got to do like 7 absolutely perfect movements in a row, which is a very different style of Kaizo from something like Casio, because in Casio it's never like about super precise movement, it's about knowing what the movement has to be, and then there's like the occasional tiny little bit of precision to it. But then you've got stuff like what Nyx produces or what the Cape Flight community are producing, where it's like super specific, super precise stuff. The Cape stuff isn't always super precise, but you need to know what you're doing.
Right.
So on an individual hack level, it is Casio. In terms of like stuff that I know would be more difficult that I haven't tackled yet, it would probably be stuff like Cave of Loathing 1 and 2, anything involving Yoshi Flight. It's incredible.
Oh man,
it's so strange.
I had never even heard of that until I dropped in on one of your streams and you were doing that, because I had to ask you what was going on, and it just the whole concept, just I don't even understand the Yoshi Flight thing.
It's incredible just how the game functions at all when you think about it. But the fact that it can actually support this mechanic by which you can get on a Yoshi while flying. If the Yoshi's in midair, now you are both on a Yoshi and flying, and they interact in the most peculiar of ways, in a way that's almost like Cape but not quite, in a way that's almost like being on a Yoshi but not quite. It's an evolving genre. Lots of people are making stuff in that space right now. We're seeing lots of stuff come out of that. I can't do any of it, but it's fun to see what's happening. It's fun to see how that's evolving.
Are there any hacks that you kind of look down the road to, one day I would like to play and beat this hack, or do you pretty much just, if you want to play it, you download it and play it?
When I started out, I had a list of hacks that I wanted to do, and that included stuff like Titan Mario, Casio, Ultra Kaizo World 2. There's lots of stuff that's always been on my to-do list that I haven't got around to yet. Casio was my first conscious foray into Grandmaster hacks, and now that gate's been opened, there's a lot of stuff I am interested in looking into. But I'm quite happy to take it easy for a little bit after the Casio grind.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah, there's like stuff that comes out and you're like, okay, well this has to take priority because it just came out. But for like the older stuff, Ultra Kaizo World 2 is currently very high on the list of stuff that I'd like to do.
Gotcha.
Old hack by Arabam, but it was one of the first hacks I ever watched because it was Orca's go-to hack. He was a speedrunner for it.
Wow.
And I want to get around to that someday.
Do you have like a favorite creator or creators that if you hear so and so just released a new hack, you are like, okay, I've got to play that as soon as possible?
No, there's plenty. Like anytime a Jordan hack comes out, it's like gotta play it. Anytime Nyx comes out with something, I know I'm not going to be able to beat it, but I'm going to play it. I want to experience it. There's quite a few. New Pointless, anything New Pointless, whatever it is, I'm going to play it. Doesn't matter what it is. Yeah, there's a few. There's a few. Those are the names that kind of like spring to mind. But the fact of the matter is, I like pretty much most things that get put out by people who I like, so I tend to play all of it.
Gotcha.
But if I had to think like immediately, yeah, NP's a very strong contender. New Pointless. Anything that comes out, I'm just like, gotta get on it. Gotta get in on that immediately. I think people know that I like their stuff. I'm very vocal about it, to be honest. Like, one thing that I think is really important that not enough people do is if you play a hack and you liked it in any way, shape, or form, is you go to SMW Central and you write the review and you leave the score. Pretty much every single hack. I only adopted that philosophy fairly recently, like within the past 15 hacks or so. But like, if you ever talk to a creator, they'll say the same thing. They'll be like, I don't know if people like my stuff. I'll be like, what do you mean? It's like, well, no one leaves any comments. No one comments. No one leaves ratings and stuff. It's important. It's an important part of the ecosystem.
That is a very good thing, you know, and I've been guilty of. I haven't done that, but you know, I haven't really thought about it before. But I agree. That's something that I think everybody should do, and I'm going to start trying to make a point of doing it. But talking about the hacks, unless there's one I don't know about, I only know of one hack that you have put out, and I've actually went and grabbed the cover photo from it. You put out the hack called Shine. In your hack, I haven't played it. I unfortunately haven't been able to catch anyone play it, so I don't really even know what all is in the hack. But in the hack that you made, is there a particular level that you are the most proud of, or that you liked the most?
Yeah. To the earlier parts, it is the only hack that I've put out. This is true. And when it comes down to like people liking or hating it, it tends to be on a per level basis. Like a level will either click with someone or it won't. And because the hack is almost entirely, well, half the levels are like experiments in different ideas, like novel ideas. Maybe not completely novel. It turns out some of them were accidentally either beaten to the punch by someone else, or inadvertently were just copies of another idea without realizing it was the same thing. But yeah, no, there's two levels that there's three levels that I'm really quite proud of in that hack. There's one level that it tends to be quite polarizing for people to enjoy, but they all tend to agree that the gimmick is nice. And that's the level where you can't jump. And you might think, oh, well, no jump levels aren't that rare. Ratio did it in Beautiful Dangerous. There's been a few instances of that. But the way that jumping works in this level is that when you walk off of a platform, you automatically jump.
Oh.
So if you ever played Zelda, Ocarina of Time, any of those, that's how Link jumps in those games.
Right. I
So
know what you're talking about.
I transplanted that into Mario. And it tends to get like mixed opinions on like the actual level itself, but people tend to like the idea. So I'm quite proud of that one. There's people who have come up to me and said, you could make a whole hack about this gimmick. And I'm sure it could be done, but I'm too stupid to do it. But that gimmick was really nice. There's a level which ended up being very similar to one in Grand Prix World 3, but like much more movement focused, where you get a type of double jump, but you execute it by holding the opposite direction from the way that you want to move.
Oh my.
Which ended up being very similar to the gun level in Grand Prix World 3. But I'd actually made the level before that, and then Grand Prix World 3 did it better. I was like, oh, god damn. So I'm quite happy with that. because that turned out to be a solid idea because people then used it independently, obviously. Like, that was a separate parallel thinking thing. But the level that I'm very proud of is the one that people tell me they actually liked consistently. And it is a level where I combined a sky tree with a bullet bill to make a gun tree.
Oh my.
And the idea is that you have to escort a vine from the bottom of the level to the top, just like normal, except this vine shoots at you. That is the fun level, right? That's the level that people like. You know what? This hack's all right. The rest of it sucks, but this is a good level. I like them. Yeah.
I've heard someone reference that you did something with a bubble in one of the levels.
So the bubble is the level that inadvertently turned out being a clone of another concept, and I didn't know it until someone said it out loud. In that level, you're attached to the bubble, so it's a ghost bubble. You know, the ghost house bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
You're attached to it, and you can't move on the X and Y. You can't move on the X plane. You're dragged along by the bubble.
Oh wow!
Which actually makes it an auto walk level, and I didn't realize it was an auto walk level. I liked it. I thought it was good. I think it's the single most hated level in the hack. Which is unfortunate because that gimmick appears twice more. But both times it's introduced afterwards, it's much shorter. I thought I was onto something, but it turns out people hate auto walk. That was inadvertently partially inspired by a level in a hack by Evil Admiral Kiwi called WhoIsDoopu World 2. Which is, for me, a very vain thing to talk about because it's named after himself. But he made an auto walk level that absolutely demolishes people. It's like a real... It levels the playing field for people because no one knows how to play an auto walk level. Because people don't... There's not enough of them.
Right.
So you can see the world's greatest players get caught up by this. And I think that's what ended up happening with the bubble level, is that no one's seen it before. No one does auto walk. So everyone's like, this is too finicky. This is too difficult. When you make a hack, you don't think about it that much because you're too good at it. Which is why it's always important to have good testers. But
Right.
if your testers are too good, well, then you never find out that the thing's too hard. I started planning out a second hack. I was going to call it Rain. And my idea for that one was to basically flip the formula. Don't do custom stuff. Try to keep it as vanilla and normal as possible. Try to play with what already exists. So people don't have to learn new stuff. They have to learn setups instead.
Gotcha. That was actually going to be my next question, was if you were planning to make another one.
It is on the cards. I've got too many plates spinning right now to really focus on it. I made one half of one level that is absolutely sick and awesome and cool. And then that was 4 months ago and I haven't touched Lunar Magic since.
Two-part question. There's usually a mechanic that, like a gimmick, whether it's, chocolate or even if it's a vanilla mechanic that people, they're like, oh, I love doing this particular trick, or I love seeing this ASM. And then they also, on the flip side, they have their most hated thing that every time they see it, they're like, I despise having to do this. Do you have a favorite and a most hated mechanic or gimmick?
Yeah, it's easy to talk about the negative here because I quite commonly groan whenever I see a grab jump. What's really funny is that I don't like grab jumps. I can't do them. I find it really tricky to push two buttons simultaneously, and that's because it is hard to push two buttons simultaneously.
What is a grab jump for those that may not know?
So for those not in the know, imagine you're standing on a throw block and you need to pick it up, but you also need to not fall through the floor. You need to make sure that you don't excuse me, you don't end up maybe there's spikes underneath it. So a grab jump is when you push both the grab button and the jump button simultaneously. You do it on the same frame. What will happen is you will pick up the block and you will jump, so you won't touch the ground. It's a frame perfect trick, but the common defense is that you get to pick the frame. But it's still hard. In fact, it's so hard, when Dram 3 came out, Panga went out of his way to make them into 2 frame tricks as opposed to 1 frame tricks. Like, he actually changed the code to make it so that these were more forgiving.
Oh, that was nice.
Which is kind of revolutionary. I mean, it has happened before. There is this ASM called easy grab jumps, which Mosul used to use. But then grab jumps kind of fell out of style because they were this trick that a lot of people moaned about. But they've been slowly creeping their way back in, either assisted or unassisted. But that's the one that I always like growing up when I see it. But it kind of like half-heartedly, like I don't actually care that much. I do like actively dislike them, but I don't think a hack is automatically made bad by including them. Like, it's about like using the right thing in the right time. But when it comes to tricks that I do like, I've been getting into cape. I like cape. I think cape is actually a lot of fun. Vanilla cape specifically. There's so many like intricacies to like how cape works, especially in the domain of how to effectively not run into walls and die. Like, there's so much like theory and logic around it. But yeah, there's lots of cool stuff out there. It's so easy to focus on the negatives with that. Key jumps and grab jumps, they're both frame perfect things. Key jumps are done in midair as well sometimes. Those aren't that bad. I think they look cool, even if they're like irritating to do. But also, again, no one does them these days. They're very rare to see in hacks.
What is your opinion on save stating for people that play Kaizo?
It's a single player game. I don't care. Anyone who wants to do it, they can do it. There's lots of sort of when you look at it from what you might call like an able-bodied perspective, you might look at it and think it comes down purely to personal instinct, personal preference. If you are struggling with a section and you feel like repeated practice would make you better at that section, and then you want to run it back from the start and then do the whole thing quote unquote legit, which, you know, is its own loaded sort of terminology, but you want to do it like without save state, that's completely valid. If you want to beat a level by doing it bit by bit, save stating as you go, that's totally valid. If you physically can't beat a level because, you know, you've got accessibility issues or anything like that, save stating is sometimes the only option you've got. So I don't care. I don't care what people do vis-a-vis save stating. The only time when it would ever actually matter is inside competitive environments, which, you know, everyone understands that you have to do that on a level playing field.
Right.
So like Kaizo races, speedrunning, ... But when you're playing through your own you're playing through stuff at your own pace, I don't care. It's so far like down the list of things I worry about. Incidentally, I can't save state because I'm running on an NT without a FX pack or an EverDrive or whatever it's called. So I can't save state.
Oh.
I can't even do it if I wanted to. It sucks.
So we'll pivot a little bit away from the Kaizo. I think we've pretty well covered it. So, and I guess this still probably, you know, could apply to Kaizo, but it can also extend to any other game that you've ever played. So have you ever done any kind of extreme challenge of a game? Like I said, it could be Kaizo, could be any game, you know, but there's people that do challenges of like they'll play, I think of like, you know, Dark Souls. They'll do deathless runs. I think there's people that do hitless runs of a Dark Soul game. You know, there's people that play games with a blindfold on. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Just ramp up the difficulty just because they really love the game. Have you ever done any kind of like extreme challenge of a game before?
Yeah, I did one. So it came to my attention that there was this thing called the Super Mario Hour. And the Super Mario Hour is a speedrun category where the people playing beat 6 Mario games in under 1 hour.
Holy cow.
So they beat Mario 1, 2J, Lost Levels, 2, 3, World, and 64 back to back in under 1 hour total.
Wow.
And I believe I was the 8th person to ever accomplish that. I think I might have been the 9th. I can't remember.
That's wild.
It is hard. It took 500 to 600 hours of practice, spread across all the games, and then God knows how much time spent actually doing the runs. The final run came in, this was like after 1,000 attempts, by the way. It took 1,000 attempts after I'd done all the practice. After 1,000 attempts, my final time clocked in at 58 minutes and 16 seconds.
Wow, that boggles my mind. Like, beating Super Mario World in an hour is to me impressive, but that's just one of 6 that you beat within an hour. That I can't fathom that. That is awesome. Like, wow.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. It was a great challenge. I'm really proud of myself for having done it. It's the only like extreme challenge I've ever done. There's been other things that I kind of flirted with, like Deathless Celeste and stuff like that. In fact, we're going to be trying to do Deathless Celeste any percent later this year. We've only got like, how many? We've got like 60 hours for it, so we won't do it, but we'll make some progress. But yeah, the Mario Hour thing was really good. Like, I got the individual games down to like SMB 1 was 5 minutes 12 seconds, 2J was down to 8:40, SMW was down to 11 minutes thereabouts. But the hardest part by far was Super Mario 64. Because in that game, you need to beat it with 1 or fewer stars.
Wow.
And if you play that game casually, you need 70. So it's you have to learn these most arcane tricks. It's a lot of fun, and I recommend it for anyone who's got 500 hours to spare.
not for the faint of heart to try.
It is. It really is. Good stuff, though. Good stuff. Good fun.
How long ago was that?
That was last. I finished the challenge last March, I think. Maybe last February.
Okay, so just over a year.
It was, yeah, and it was months and months and months of practice. Like I eventually took the practice seriously, I think about 4 months before it, and then it was just every stream was practice, and it was grueling. Like, it got really, really disheartening. I'm not a speedrunner. I know it sounds really stupid to say, given how I did that, but like I hadn't developed like a speedrunner mentality, so I didn't like really know what I was getting myself in for. And then I was now speedrunning 6 games in a row. And you go, okay, well, this might actually be quite hard. But it's great because now I've got 6 games I can do party tricks for. Go around someone's house and be like, oh, I see you're playing Super Mario Brothers 3 for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Do you want to see something funny? And then you beat it in 12 minutes.
Exactly.
With like SMB 1 all the way up through SMB 3, you look at it and you're like, okay, well, I understand like where you might have worked these things out. And then you get to like Super Mario World, where in that game, the first thing you do is get a Yoshi, run back 2 levels, and then kill a Chuck with a fireball eat the coin. No, you kill a Rex with a fireball. You get the Yoshi to eat the coin, and you jump off the Yoshi and scroll the screen to spawn in a chuck that then replaces the coin on the Yoshi's tongue, and then the Yoshi eats it, and you end up with an orb in the item box. And you go, what? What? How did you do? And then you use it to skip Iggy's castle, right? And it saves like 20 seconds. And you're like, who figured this out? Who sat down and realized that, Yoshi's tongue, when it eats a coin, will replace that coin with an enemy if the enemy spawns. And depending on your power-up state, you get a different item in the item box, and that item could be an orb. And you go, what is happening? How did this... Like, the super speedrunners of that game, they get a cloud in the item box, and they take it to Bowser. And then when they get to Bowser, deploying the cloud breaks Bowser's AI, because of course, why wouldn't it? And then you can skip half the Bowser fight by jumping in and out of a cloud, which you shouldn't be able to have there in the first place. Someone sat down and worked this out. It's incredible. And that's nothing to speak of like SM64's various backwards long jumps and stuff. But it's incredible. Like, so many kudos to those people who sit down and work out these strats. I've got no idea how you'd ever do it. I'm not good enough or clever enough to do that. And we stand on the shoulders of giants.
I was able to watch a little bit of your stream on Sunday. For any of you that don't know, Dupu has made his own Dupagachi, the little Tamagotchi pet thing. He programmed his own Dupagachi, and it's quite adorable. And you said Sunday, I haven't been able to catch your stream, but you said I think you were going to deploy it on Monday. How has that went?
It's been good. People have been trying to kill it. It's really sad, actually. So far it hasn't died. I reboot it at the start of every stream, but it lasts the whole stream. The way that it works is that every minute, one of its needs degrades by 0 to 2 points. And if any of those needs hit 0, starts off at 100, it will run away. It will, quote unquote, run away. It will actually dissolve. And so far, no one has let any of the needs dip to 0. You get a visual indicator saying this need is running out, and then someone does it. They'll feed it, they'll give it some tea, they'll give it a pet or whatever. So far so good. The current joke is that I actually had an internet problem at the start of stream today, and Hero Bonzo goes, day 2, the Dupagotchi killed the stream. It didn't. It was my internet provider, but it's not a good omen, to be honest. But yeah, I haven't given any commands to harm the Dupagotchi, despite everyone typing !punt, !kill, commit tax evasion. No. He's safe and sound. He's safe and sound.
If someone were to randomly drop into a WhoIsDoopu stream, they might be met with a screen full of lizards. Could you explain what that would be about?
Yeah. So the lizards. Where do you even start? All right. So our friend Dobbs of Dobbs Works fame, he's making a game called Paper Robot. It's a take on the paper RPG genre that was started by Paper Mario. And it's a gorgeous game. Absolutely super cool. Demo's out now if you're interested. But he was doing some art one day for some lizards. And a member of the community called Willow's Wonders comes in to chat. And she goes, "Why don't these lizards have toes?" Which is a very strange thing to ask.
It is.
And just a back and forth with Dobbs for a while saying there should be toes on the lizards. And he's like, "I don't want to put toes on the lizards." And if you look at that emote that Liari's posted in chat, that's the lizard that came out of that session. The next day, or it might have been a day or two afterwards, we're doing my stream, and this lizard conversation topic comes up. and someone goes, "Oh, I drew a lizard," and I go, oh, "Okay, I'll put it on the screen." Because that's why, if you send me something, I'll probably put it on the screen because I've got nothing else to do. So I'll put it on the screen. And then someone else goes, "Oh, I've got a lizard," and I go, "Okay, I'll stick it on the screen." And before I knew it, we had 50 lizards. And I was like, what happened? So we called it the Day of Lizards or some such. And I was like, that's it, no more lizards. Lizards are gone. And I was like, well, actually, there's a channel point redeem in this. So I ended up adding this channel point redeem to like bring back the lizards for 5 minutes every 2 hours or something. And to this day, people still send me pictures of lizards every so often. So I said to them, like, if you want to send me a picture of a lizard, take no longer than 20 seconds. Otherwise, I'll feel bad about it. And then some people who might even be in chat didn't listen to that and then drew masterpieces. And I'm like, for God's sake. So yeah, I've got like 70 lizards now or something. It's stupid. And the number goes up every so often. And it all starts because Willow argued with Dobbs over whether or not a lizard should have toes.
Another thing that they may see if they drop into your chat, you do have a pet command, just like I do. However, when I have the little pet thing, I don't have a catchphrase for the pet. If someone redeems pet in your chat, they will get to hear, and if I'm not saying it correctly, you correct me, but it's chan chan chan. Where did the Doopu pet sound effect come from?
So it's a J, in fact, like Jan.
Okay.
And it's the dumbest story. So I used to play a fighting game called Melty Blood, which is such a long rabbit hole. It's not worth going into in much depth, but you just need to know there's a fighting game called Melty Blood, and it had a secret character in it called Neko Arc. And Neko Arc is kind of an internet meme these days. Like, you often see like this little cat goblin creature making funny noises around the internet places. But the funny thing is, that's not the source. The source is actually a second secret character from this game called Neko Arc Chaos. And he's a goblin cat version of a major antagonist in the game. And this is already a very stupid story. So when he wins a round in the game, he goes Jan Jan Jan, because in Japanese that's like ta-da. Like, you know, when you do a magic trick, you go ta-da, you go Jan Jan Jan. And that's a verbal tick that has stuck in my head for 15 years. More than that. More than 15 years. And then one day I just busted it out during a pet redeem, and then I never went back. And now, unfortunately, I have to do it. It's like, where's my Shan Shan Shan? I'm like,
exactly.
Oh,
it's become part of the pet redeem. I did tell you before we streamed that I love watching your stream because your BRB screen is worth the subscription just to get to watch all of your clips from your stream, because you have some hilarious clips. One of them, however, I actually had to, whenever it was clipped, I was in chat when it was clipped, which is probably one of the reasons that it sticks out in my mind the most. But I actually took your clip and I had to post it in my Discord server because I got to see it live. Here is the clip, and it was from when you were playing the Yoshi hack. And like I said, I don't know why I find this so funny. I may be the only one that even laughs at it now, but it's still great to me. But here's the clip.
Oh shit! Oh, he's dead. Oh, what? Yeah, no, I remember that.
I'm not exaggerating. I laughed out loud in a restaurant whenever that happened, because it was just, you were already doing the funny Yoshi voice. You did the Wii with the Yoshi, him sliding across the one F-Zero, but then when he fell to his death, the way you never missed a beat, you didn't lose the voice. It was so perfect. It made me genuinely laugh out loud in a restaurant.
It's funny because like you don't even know you're doing it when you do it, right? Like, it's like, is this going to be a clip? And you don't know. And then you go to your like clip manager at the end of the stream and you go, oh god damn it. Or like, oh, that's nice. Now that one's funny because the Yoshi voice is just silly. And then he falls off. And I'm like, oh no. No. But yeah, no, sometimes one of the nicest things that I can hear from anyone is that I actually laughed. Like, it's so rare because like exhaling through your nose is like very, very common, right? When you're watching something, you go, ah. But like actually laughing at something, like whenever I laugh at something on a stream out loud, I tell them. I make sure they know. I write real belly laugh or whatever, right? So it's good. Thank you for letting me know. It's a good clip. I liked it.
Do you have any kind of emotes? And we've already talked about the lizard redeem, how that makes more sense. Do you have any in your chat or your stream that are kind of like that you kind of can understand it even if you saw it, but if you know the backstory behind it, you really understand why it's a thing?
There's a few. So Hobo posted one of just a round Doopu. That's because it's like, why is there a round Doopu? Oh, it's cute. Why is it called Pen Pals? That's a really... So our friend Dobbs made a game called Pen Pals. And in Pen Pals, it's like Suika Game, if you know Suika Game, the one where you match the fruits and you want to...
Right, I know what you're talking about.
He made this, but with barnyard animals, and he called it Pen Pals. Very funny. So I drew a pen pal Doopu. So you got a round Doopu. Very strange. Explaining that takes time. I've got an emote that's just the number 6 crossed out. If I had to explain that, it would take days. Because it's like, why is that there? And it's like, well, we don't like the number, or the streamer doesn't like the number 6. Why doesn't the streamer like the number 6? It's because his chat won't stop typing it. Why won't they stop typing it? Because he doesn't like it. It's a cycle. You get absolutely messed up. So there's loads of like little things here and there. I'm trying to think if any of the others have like confusing or annoying stories. But I think between Pen Pals and the 6 emote.
Yeah, I have frequently heard you in chat, talking about you darn sixists. You're the only person I've ever used the word sixists, so I knew there was a story behind the sixes.
Yeah, these darn sixists, rampant sixism. Yeah, exactly. So there's like, the actual reason was, what was it? There was some music playing in a ROM hack. And it was from a Final Fantasy. And I said, which Final Fantasy is this from? And someone typed 6. And then someone else typed 6. And then someone else typed 6. And I went, you can stop typing 6 now. Those are the 3 words.
And it got started.
Should never be spoken. Stop typing 6 was not the correct sequence of words to say in that situation. Now there's other there's like every other damn channel that I watch regularly has a 6 emote. I can't get away from it. The one from GameCube is a bunch of blinking Doopu eyes. Like, what is this? Like, what was he thinking? Like, this.
Kind of in that same vein, is there? And you've been streaming for a while. There may be more than one thing, but just kind of the first thing that pops in your mind when I ask you this is there one thing that has ever happened on stream that just is one of the most memorable things to ever happen? Like, whenever you think back to your time of streaming, is there, I said, and there may be more than one, but usually there's kind of like one main thing that just, you remember this from streaming. Is there anything like that just stands out in your mind, one of the most memorable moments of streaming?
It's really hard to narrow down in like a meaningful sense, because we've obviously got the recency bias of having talked about the Maui Hour.
Right.
And that was like such a high moment for me as a gamer and a streamer. But discounting like that kind of achievement sort of based memory, it's going to sound quite soppy, but I remember meeting most people in chat, right? It's not a single moment, but on a per parasocial viewer basis. I remember how I met most people in my chat, and that's always something I think about fondly if I like that person. If they're like a
Understood.
fun and good viewer. So like someone will turn up and their first message will be X, Y, or Z, and then it'll be years down the line, and I'll be like, you remember your first message was this? And they'll be like, oh, okay. Why do you remember that? So there's like, I guess for me, the reason why those moments stick out is because they're the important parts. Is meeting people, and getting to know like the community that you're growing. I know it's not a very specific or useful answer in that sense.
No,
but,
it's still the answer I was looking for, because that's what it means to you.
Yeah. I remember how I met an awful lot of people, and when I started out with SMW, this wasn't even on my stream. I was just scrolling through the categories, and I went down towards the bottom because I wanted to like get like some one-on-one time with some people, because you know, I don't know if you do this as well, or if anyone else does this, but sometimes you want to watch a stream where there's like maybe 2 or 3 people in it, because you're actually going to get to talk to the person involved.
Yeah,
it's
I
quite
do
nice.
that.
And very early on in my Twitch career, I did that, and I saw a name and I clicked it, and it was someone called Germ Dove. And I remember exactly what he was doing at the time. He was playing Akogari 2, and he fell for a troll, and I clipped it, and that was it. That was just the start of the Germ Dove Dupu relationship, right? It was just the simple act of scrolling through a list of like streams, clicking fundamentally a random one, seeing a funny moment, and then clipping it. And now 4 years down the line, knowing Germ Dove introduced me to so many people inside the Mario community, outside the Mario community. Like, you remember these really important moments because that's how you ended up being part of something.
Right.
It's how you ended up either making friends, or more mercenary, gaining an audience, or something along those lines. But it's like very specific things from like literally 4 or 5 years ago on an individual basis. I don't really think of like what I do. I think about what other people do in response to what I do. If that makes sense. Like, this is why the only reason Marry Hour comes to mind for like my own personal streaming achievement is because it's something that I worked on for like months and months and months. But in reality, that's not the thing that I'm focused on. It's more like, how can I help other people react to what I'm doing? How can people enjoy what I'm doing? And it's hard.
I get that.
It's hard. But then you remember it, and it sticks with you.
I always try to ask a few of these questions at the end of the stream, because it's also my hope that if someone watches these, they might be thinking about going into streaming. And it's always, great to hear from people like yourself that has done this for an extended period of time, to get a little bit of advice and things like that, from the pros, if you want to look at it that way. And kind of simply, just what advice would you give to anyone if they told you, Dupu, I'm thinking of streaming, if you got any advice that you would give me, what would you tell them?
It's kind of generic, but I think the most important thing is to have fun. You have to find something that motivates you to do it. You have to find out what your motivation is. Is it to have fun? Is it to grow an audience? Is it to make money? Question mark. You need to figure out like what you want to do. I find that going into it with any other motive other than have fun is kind of it's a tricky road to walk. So yeah, that's the most important thing to me. If you're starting out, there's a couple of things to keep in mind. One is that it's not going to be anything like what you think it is, because what you think it is going to be based off of the people you watch, and you aren't the people you watch. You're your own exciting individual. And secondly, if you go into it with expectations of fame and fortune, I wouldn't personally. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm not saying it's not impossible to like make a go in that sense. But when you're starting out, your first goal should be to have fun with it, make friends, establish your own niche, find out what you want to do. If you don't want to do it every day, don't do it every day. If you don't want to play difficult games, don't do that. If all you want to do is start up a just chatting stream and just, shoot the shit for like 40 minutes, half an hour, 10 minutes, whatever, do that. It's really, really important that you just do what you want to do and you don't try to emulate someone else.
And talking about the viewers, if someone is starting to stream, and this still even applies to me, so, how do you, or what advice would you give someone concerning low view counts and the negative emotions that can bring?
A lot of people, when they start out, they look at numbers and they get really obsessed with them. I'm still obsessed with numbers. I love numbers. But I make a point of not knowing them. That makes sense? Like when I have my stream up, all my numbers are off. I don't care. I don't want to see them because they do impact the way that you perform, right? If you see a low number, you might not be motivated to do anything. You might not put in any energy. And then that feeds into itself. You end up having like lower energy, and you end up being like, when people come in, they see that you're in a bad mood, and then they leave.
Right.
So, fretting about numbers is like the domain of people who need to worry about numbers. First of all, when you're starting out, you don't need to worry about numbers. There are no numbers to think of. Your number is 1, 2, maybe higher if you're lucky.
6.
It could even be 6. Could you imagine? You don't have to think about this. So I just personally turn them off and then don't think about them. Eventually, as you grow, you will eventually have to start thinking about numbers. I'm not at the point where I have to think about numbers. You only have to think about it when you're averaging like 50, 60. Because then you need to start thinking about, oh, could I get a partner? But until then, don't worry about it. Or try not to worry about it. If you need to optimize for a metric, and that metric is viewer number, you're probably going to have a bad time. This isn't necessarily true. Just from what I've seen, the majority of people, if they want to optimize for viewer number, they're going to end up sad in some way, shape, or form, and that's going to feed back into it, and it's going to look bad. Mm-hmm. I was very lucky when I started out because I actually see this in a lot of streams, right? This is a really good thing. Almost every stream I watch that has like lower viewer numbers in general still has regulars, people who will be there. And this is the kindest thing anyone can do for any streamer. Like if you are starting out, the best thing that can ever possibly happen to you is that you have a friend, and that friend is there for you. So like for me, when I was starting out, my viewer count was 1, and that viewer was Cabs. When Cabs was starting out, his viewer count was 1, that viewer was me, right? And I see this in so many places. If you can just get that one viewer to keep you motivated, who cares about all the others? Doesn't matter. You've got someone to bounce off of. You've got someone to chat with. You're going to you're going to have a good time. And sometimes you see streams where they have no one at all. And it's like, what can you do to help? You can chat. You can clip. You can engage. You can follow. There's so many things that as a viewer you can do to help. The way that I kind of think about it is you've got streamers who are gamers first, streamers second. And you've got streamers who are streamers first and gamers second. And if you want to be a successful gamer first streamer, you have to be phenomenal at what you're doing. Like you have to be top tier at what you're doing. And this is usually the domain of like speedrunners and stuff, like super high level guys, super high level folks who are like really, really good at what they do. So when people aren't like as chat engaged, I don't necessarily see that as a negative. It makes it harder for you as a streamer to get started because you're not engaging with the mechanic of the website.
Right.
Let's say you then go on to be like world record holder of Super Mario Brothers 1. It won't matter. People will watch anyway because people will want to watch high level gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's tricky. And I don't think many people necessarily know what type of streamer they're going to be when they start out. Like when you go into someone's stream and they're focusing on the game, are they just not used to the idea of reading chat yet? Are they going for this whole like game first idea? Some people, there's like a curve when it comes to like chat engagement, where when you start out, if you don't know anyone, you kind of have to, you haven't got anyone to talk to, your chat engagement is naturally low, so you need something to draw people in, and that thing can be like being good at a game or being good at chatting, and eventually people will latch on. Then as you grow, you end up in this situation where you've got a small enough number of people that you can talk to them one-on-one. And then suddenly being a streamer is really important. You need to be able to communicate with people clearly. You need to be able to manage multiple conversation threads. And again, this is assuming that your goal isn't to just be like fantastic, outstanding in your field. But then eventually you reach a point where suddenly it's too many people to handle. I'm not there yet. I don't know many people who are. But if you go into like, I don't know, 200, 300 viewer stream plus, you'll see that they don't talk to chat in the way that we talk to chat.
They can't.
They can't. It's not possible. So they had to learn something new as well. So when people turn up and they're brand new and they haven't learned how to read chat yet, it's almost like watching a huge streamer because they're not engaging with chat in the same way. So it's always an interesting dynamic to experience. But with these like people who are starting out or people who are struggling to maintain viewer numbers, the biggest advice I have is to learn how to read chat. When I started Kaizo, my very first goal was to be able to play the game and read chat simultaneously, and I can do that. It's one of the only things I can do actually, is I can read chat while playing Mario, and Mario lends itself really well to this because you die every second. So you can just sort of glance at chat and just like really quickly read it. But I know lots of people who don't do this, and I think it would help them out quite a lot. So if you're getting started and you're wondering, like, you don't want to leave people hanging. People say something, you want to answer them as quickly as possible. At least I do. Mm-hmm. But I'm also like very agreeable, so who knows? It's important. It's really important. The fact of the matter is, streams don't exist without viewers, except when there's no viewers, which is also fine. But when people show up, they're giving you their time, and they only have like so much of that. Even if they're work lurking or anything, like, and you could say they're parallelizing their time, they still chose you to turn up, right? Mm-hmm. Turn up to. So it's an important thing to acknowledge. I think saying hi is literally the least you can possibly do. At least, our sites where it's possible to do that. And it also helps that it's true. I am grateful that people show up. If I say, hi, it's good to see you, that's true. I don't say it to people who I don't like. It's true. don't listen out for it, but you might hear it occasionally. No, but there's always like, it's always important to like acknowledge that people are spending their most precious resource, which is time, with you, watching you do something stupid like be roughly okay at Mario. Right? Of all the things you could be doing, you could be, I think Morsel put it really well at the start of one of his hacks. He says you could be reading philosophy in French, but you're not. You're playing a Mario hack. What are you doing? It's cool, it's important. I think that acknowledging that the most important part of a stream for the streamer is the people who show up is literally the least they can do. So I am grateful. One trick I learned really early on, like when I was playing Kaizo, was if you're not having fun with it, you can stop. true.
That
It's so easy. There's so many other hacks. You just like turn it off, do something else. I just happen to have a very high tolerance for irritating things. Yeah. You put like Mega Man X6 in front of me, I'll get really mad. You put X7 in front of me, I'll get really mad. But it's short controlled bursts. Typically I'm in a decent mood. So that's why I aim to get. I don't want people to come in and be like, oh, he's in a bad mood. I want people to come in and go, oh yeah, he's in a good mood. And if I am in a bad mood, I want it to be at least funny. Right?
Yeah.
Like if you're playing Mega Man X7 and you're or X6 and you're jumping over the same guy 15 times in a row and it sucks, at least it's funny. Right? So that's the goal. Crashing out is fine. It's a fine thing to do. Many people do it.
Some people build their streams around it.
Some people build their entire stream around it. You just gotta like put yourself first, and if you aren't having fun, at least make sure that the experience is fun. The game might not be, but at least you should be trying to have fun. And that's it. That's the only thing you got to do if you want to be a good mood streamer. Play things that don't make you mad, and if they do,
Make it funny.
Make fun of them. Make it funny.
I appreciate everybody for coming and hanging out. We got several rounds of marbles in. I had fun. I hope y'all did as well. And we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. And Mr. Dupu, I again appreciate it. And I hope you have a wonderful night. Chat, y'all have a wonderful night. And we'll catch you next time. Hopefully I'll be back streaming on Friday night and I can catch y'all then.
Thanks for having me. Bye, everyone.
Woo.